everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Gameable Audio. I am your host, Gustav Schenström, and yes, we haven't been here in a while, but I am so sorry for not releasing more on schedule, but there's a lot of things that have been going on. But nonetheless, we are back on track, and this is episode 65, and with me by my side is none other than Gustav Wall. Hello!
Hello! How are you?
Welcome to the podcast. Well,
Thank you.
I'm good. I'm super excited to just get this going again. It's been a while since I did my last recording, so I might be a little bit sorry for being a little bit green again, you know, having more of a release schedule and everything, and then all of a sudden things happen in life. I mean, moving from one country to another is not easy, right?
Yeah, you've been through some things recently, yeah, I know.
Yes, in just the when we're just looking at the year, I've been moving back and forth between Sweden and Finland. So that's the biggest reason for people that haven't been aware of my personal situation here.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back. Thank you so much. No, I'm super excited for this episode. And the reason for that is, of course, we're going to go through this. I'm not going to spoil it, so I'm keeping this as a teaser. But in order to get everything going, we're doing that as usual, as always. I want to get to know a little bit more about you, Gustav. Well, like, what made you get into music first and foremost?
Yeah, what happened really? Let's see. I mean, we could turn back the clock or turn back time pretty much, I would say, till I was a kid. Really, I think about my piano that was always in the house. Mm-hmm. This was my mother's grand piano. It was always there, in the house. Mm-hmm. And by the way, she passed away recently, a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And I have inherited, you say, right, the piano. So now it's in my house. So it's here. It's got a story, and it really began there, I guess. I always wanted a place to go to, sort of. Sit down, relax, and perhaps when there were no words to really describe the moment of existence, the piano was always there and a real good tool to do that with, and I think that's where it began, really.
Did you start by just banging the piano yourself?
Yeah, just banging the piano. Oh, there's a real nice funny photograph of me, by the way. I'm thinking about it now, that my dad took of me. Now, I was a kid, maybe 7 years old, 7, 8. I'd made some funny thing with the haircut, and I have some funny clothes on, and I look really sad on this photo, like looking in the camera like I'm crying, and I'm not sure if I'm actually crying, or if I'm making a face. But I'm at this piano anyway, so I'm sitting there, and my dad was like, "Oh, I need to take this photo," So, and it's there, and I'm sitting at the piano, and I'm sad, and it's sort of, We're going to talk about the music later, of course, but when I got into film composing, it was, a bit of the sad sort of music.
A little bit of melancholy, maybe.
Yeah, melancholy, minimalistic stuff. But that's where it began. I just wanted to sit down and have a place to gather up, all the feelings, I guess, So and then I was just self-taught from that on, really. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But was your mother a pianist?
She played.
That
yeah. She definitely. I wouldn't call her, a pianist, but she sang in the choir a whole lot, and music was a huge part of her life.
Okay.
And and it ended also being a huge part of her life. Now we're getting deep into the feelings already, I feel, but at the end of her life. We were actually. I didn't intend to talk about this, but let's just go ahead. We were actually. I was actually playing the piano for her. When she lied there on that piano in that room where that photo was taken, and this was just 2 years ago, so it's pretty recent. But yeah, she played the piano. At home. You could hear her play in the background when we were at home, and it wasn't always. Super pleasant, I would say, sometimes. But it was definitely something that made us, because I have siblings as well, wanna make music,
Oh, okay. So it was a large inspiration having your mother at home, even if it wasn't always pleasant. I mean, I'm guessing she was learning to play the piano then herself a lot of times, playing by heart.
Yeah, that's probably, now you're putting the finger on the unpleasantness of listening to music, because that's when somebody's trying to figure something out.
That's true. That is very
that's
true.
not always but then when she had her, songs that she could play very well, and that was always beautiful, of course, to hear, and the tones of the piano, it's just magic.
Was she a lot into melancholic music or minimalistic music as well, or was that something that became your style in the end?
I think she tended to, play, not maybe create her own music as much as I obviously have done, but to play, other pieces, classical pieces. And, it's hard to say if there were melancholic pieces but yeah, a little bit perhaps. Yeah. I think probably these gateways to these emotions are probably inherited downwards, I would assume.
Okay.
But yeah, no, more she played more like classical, sometimes happy stuff too.
Yeah, of course, you gotta balance it out, right?
I can always play the sad song.
But considering as you moved along as well, you said that you were more or less self-taught, so you didn't have any sort of school education surrounding music?
I had a little bit, as a kid, I went to see a piano teacher for a little while. He, with the first, 2-3 books you get as a kid, to learn the ABC of music. Piano playing, having the fingers correctly placed, and sitting straight up and blah blah blah. But I pretty soon, I think I left that. I guess this thing of learning, teacher-learner situation hasn't always been my favorite as a kid, anyway. So I stopped there, and I just continued doing it myself instead, which I think is sort of a portal to, or for me at least, connecting deeper. What's within. In my case, so it's hard to say, but focusing less on how to do things correctly and just doing it. I think that might have helped.
Okay.
In a way, yeah.
I see. And as you moved along as well, what made you start looking at making music a sort of a living standard?
Oh yeah, so now we have to jump forward, through the teenagers. We're not going to go through everything, so let's see here. Making money out of it, that came as a shock is maybe extreme word to use, but as an epiphany, maybe something like, wow, shit, I can make music out of this. Wow, which was when I had recorded. Obviously, a very sad, minimalistic piano thing. After I had an argument with my brother, I was, I think, 20-something years old by now.
Okay.
And I had this huge fight with him. I remember this clearly, and I've talked about this before, like how this ended up in a film. It was just 3 tones, descending minor scale. Very simplistic things, but I was very angry and sad when I played it. I remember that. I recorded that, and I sent it to a film editor called Erik Baving, who at the time was married to my sister, and he played it. He was editing a movie, and he just tried it on the movie that he was editing, and the director, he told me, came into the room, heard it, and was like immediately like, whoa, I want this, in my film. And there it was, and it was a small documentary, like a short documentary for Swedish television, SVT, and so I got the taste of it, being able to make not only the thing of making money out of music, but actually putting, these sort of songs with all my emotion to place for someone else to make use of. That was fascinating to me, because then it was no longer just about me or my music, but it actually came to use in a cool way. So that's where it started, and I pretty immediately thought maybe this is something I want to explore more, and develop even further. So that's where it started, and I mean.
It is interesting that it all started with an argument then. And it kind of banana peeled in a sense into this. It's not like you were struggling trying to release a lot of albums and then somebody randomly reached out to you. You had this argument going, and then from there it kind of took hold, and all of a sudden you sent in this piece to... was it Eric, right?
Yeah, Eric. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's sort of. I remember I was struggling. I've always been struggling with this music thing. Like I think a lot of us have. Like how to apply it somewhere that is beneficial for me and others, maybe, and just. So through the teens, I remember thinking about it. Should I leave it? Should I even focus on it at all as a career thing? Or we all go through these things. But I remember clearly, like he told me, like just send me something, whatever. Because it's like you're like, oh, should I make an album? Should I be an artist? Should I do this? Should I do that? I always had these melodies in my head, like always, like just I wanted to put them somewhere. So that's a way to sort of just get them out there, and luckily I could send them to him, and the rest is history there. But it's just luck also. But getting it out there, I think it's if you don't get it out there, there's nobody who can hear it. So that couldn't have happened.
But I'm wildly guessing here, but when you send those tracks to him, it was sort of an outlet for you. But were you ever kind of expecting to get some return like you did, saying that his director heard it and wants this inside of their documentary?
No, I didn't. No.
Do you remember the feeling the first time when he returned to you about this?
Yeah, I was super happy, of course, and that's not because I thought like, oh, now my career is set or something like that, but just the recognition, really, just to have somebody recognize a thing that you put so much feeling into, and have them in this way, just recognize it and want it for their film. Yeah, that was real nice. It was sort of healing, in a way. Just a good loop there, being super angry and then recording something and then getting healed.
Yeah. But it sounds to me like you've been struggling a lot by yourself. It feels like the outlets you have haven't really been returning the favor of the passion you put into this. So I'm guessing there's been a large uphill before this downhill was shown to you.
Yeah, I think
just getting that recognition as well from somebody you don't even know, in this case, the director in this case.
Yeah.
Because you usually have parents that is, of course, supportive of what you do, of what you love, usually. But hearing mom saying she loves your work like a 200th time is like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically spot on, because she was very supportive with these things, always. She always told me, oh, that's so nice and this and that. But like you say, like when you hear from an industry professional who's like, yeah, making a film, it's a serious film, it's about a serious subject, it's going to be on television. Just to get that recognition, it's also, it's good, for you. When you know that this is a professional environment, that's something.
It's not a hobby anymore.
Yeah. No, so something happens when you get to that point, I think, where you're like, okay, so this is professional. All right, I didn't know that, but you're telling me it is, so then it is, and so it had to be someone else from the industry basically saying to me like, yeah, this is. This is good. This is viable music. Yeah. It's not only maybe good enough. I was gonna say that, but it was obviously maybe more than good enough. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But did something happen with you now that you got a foot in working on music for the first documentary? Did something happen with your mind-wise? Did you change your style somewhat more, or did you just continue as you are?
No, I became an asshole immediately. I mean, I became the worst guy. You know, all my friends were like, "What the fuck has happened to you?"
Not been working on a documentary. It's pretty nice. Maybe you've heard of it.
Maybe
I'm famous.
What happened? What happened was I think I always had an issue with having a normal job, so to speak, or I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to have this normal job. I remember clearly how I thought, figured out pretty quickly that, okay, this life is perhaps this long, and these many hours I'm going to spend on work. So I must make something good out of those hours, or the best I can at least. So I was on that path. Okay. And then this came up. So this was obviously something that stuck out, and was like, whoa, if I could work with this for a living, I'm going to do all I can to get there, basically. So that's where it started, just trying to...
So you really got the carrot there.
I got it, yeah. I got the carrot, and I wanted to make it happen. So I remember I worked at a store at the time. I was offered a managing position, but I stepped down. I instead told them that I wanted to, step down and work less, basically, so I could focus on this. I had some good chats with some friends who encouraged me to do that too, so I did. And from there on, so the carrot was there, and I just did whatever I had to try and get more work, really. And that's how it's been since, it still is. So I think that's not, maybe now it sounds like I'm some sort of a Ludwig Göransson guy here, but I'm not, It's still, you still have to, basically take care of your relationships too, stay humble, try to...
Are you keeping a relationship with SVT in this case, or is it other relationships you're taking care of in this case?
So other relationships, maybe like directors, producers, people editors. In the documentary realm, it's a lot of work. You work a lot with the editors, because they put together all these lengthy materials. And they often have a keen ear for music too, I think, or storytelling. And that was, by the way, a real good help in the beginning, because it could be very difficult to know. Also, where I could make a melody from my feelings that resonate with someone, but when do you put it in? When does it start? When does it end? How do we tell the story? None of that I had no idea about at the time. So that was really helpful to be working with someone who did, an editor who had been working a lot with films, who knows where to put the cues and how to, what to watch out for pitfalls, and, real good storyteller he is.
Amazing.
Eric. So that was really... lucky for me, to get to work with someone and sort of suck in all the information and just learn along the way as much as possible.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's so from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving onward, you've been working with a lot of different film and series over the course of time. And I think it's time for us to dive into the first track of the week that we're going to listen to. I think it's kind of natural now that we're diving more into the emotions and the cues and so on.
Yeah.
So the first track that we're going to listen to is a track named Birds from the Swedish, I think it's a short movie, right?
This is a full documentary, actually.
A full documentary?
Yeah, so it's a full-length documentary. It was up on SVT Play for a while, but now it's
since been taken down.
Yeah, they all have their time there, right? And then they have to go down. But we had it was out on a few indie cinemas around the...
Okay. Yep. So the documentary is named Fosterfamiljen, and the track, yet again, is called Birds. first track of the week, and we're fading out Birds from the documentary Fosterfamiljen. And for people that are new to this episode or to the podcast, one thing that I always do before we start talking and deep diving into the specific track that we've been talking about is what I call an emotion. The emotion segment is basically me. I've been sitting in my chair. I'm darkening everything down around me, so no lights on and everything like that. I put on the track and I close my eyes, put my headphones on, and listen to this track on repeat until I feel something. And when it comes to the track Birds, the track itself, it feels a little bit repetitive. But my initial emotion while listening to this at first were the mindset of being emotionally attached to the track itself. A bit of melancholy, longing, and maybe a hint of sadness. About halfway through, the background strings change and they start to feel more unsettling. And it also gives me a sense of urgency while still being calm as a track. My perfect visual of what I'm hearing is that I'm looking at an open region, the rain is pouring slowly down, and it has this filter of gray. The track here definitely pulls my heartstrings, and I've gotten way more into calmer music lately, so I feel like this hits home for me. And that was my emotion, Gustav.
All right.
Well, how did you feel hearing somebody more analyzing in a sense
weird,
the music here?
but also interesting and nice to hear that your heart, that you felt something, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the sense of urgency that you mentioned, that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel it too, and it's also resonating with sort of the theme here in the film, I guess, where it's used, in this film is where let's put some background story because...
Yeah, that would be good because for reference, I have not seen this movie, so or documentary. So feel free to put the foundation here.
Yeah, of course, and that's also a cool way anything goes. I think it's a cool way to talk about it too, because this obviously like composing film scores and stuff like that. It's all about telling stories. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
So it's about telling a story really, and we're trying to do that together in a collaborative way. It's always, as a composer, you're working towards somebody else's vision, somebody else's story. You're trying to convey, give them what they want, what they need, what we think is the best for this specific film. And the process can be so different, depending on who you work with, especially, I would say. In this case, let's just jump straight into where it's placed in the movie and what the movie is about, really. So the film is about the director's. She's growing up in a foster family, but not as a foster child. Not that the usual maybe story here, but as a real. I don't know,
the biological
daughter, in this family that takes on a lot of foster children in different ways. In Sweden, there was a system for this back in the day, and it still is. And she's telling this story from her point of view. Okay, so this is like it's all about like how her point of view. So she's trying to figure out really, as an adult now, how this affected her. As a person growing up as a biological child in this environment. So at this specific moment in the film where this music is played, there's sort of a puzzle being laid, I would say. She's trying to figure out things. So there's a speaker, there are still images and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's about like sort of figuring out, putting the pieces together, and figuring out how growing up like that affected her. Of course, the whole film is about that, but this specific part of the film is even more like she's thinking out loud. Maybe this is why that's happened, and and this and that. and this music is playing at the same time. So I think it works well like that because it has these spaces in between the chords. And the chords, perhaps now I'm thinking out loud, could represent these pieces of puzzles, you know. It's I don't know. I think like working with a piece like this, having some ambience or whatever strings in these in this situation with chords coming and going, it gives us a lot of room to you know, to think, and the chords weigh so much, you know, each time they come, and for each resonance or for each time they come, they represent some feeling maybe, and you can go from something clear or nostalgic to something more scary in a minute like that. So, or immediately, I would say.
Yeah, I'm understanding almost a little bit myself here, as like being a biological child in a foster home, taking in other kids that actually needs a lot of help. They had so much tougher growing up, most likely, in comparison. So I'm guessing all of these kind of puzzling questions and so on could also be more deeper ones. In Swedish, we call it a little bit lillgammal. It's like you having those deeper and richer thoughts rather than, hey, which ball should I play with? So I'm guessing we're still like utilizing a lot of deeper thoughts in this segment where this song is played then, and the music is supposed to kind of reference that in a sense then.
Yeah, it worked very well for this specific scene. And a fun fact maybe on this specific composition is that it was created for another film in the beginning. Oh. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that, you know, that can happen. Not always, but can happen, you know. Sometimes things work better to other things than you expect them to, or was meant to in the first place. So
how did this kind of happen? Was it a previous film that you've been working on and this was an unused song, or did you work parallel on another movie and this just happened to go in here?
Yeah, no, this was an unused song. This was a project that never happened, really. I was in there, you know, before they decided on who was to be the composer. And I had some ideas that I put down, you know, and this was one of them. And then we further sort of developed it to fit this movie. But the ground, or how would you say, like the essence of it. The foundation, yeah. Is basically from another, was meant for another project, but it worked very well here. And we had to go in and make some adjustments, you know. I'm guessing that, like, before I state my next question, I think it's a little bit better on, it's like, how did the conversation go to get you into this project first and foremost, and after that I would like to hear a little bit more on when you're working on scenes, how does that work? So let's start, Link. How did you get into this specific project first and foremost? We had made another movie before together that was also her debut film. Julia Dinoma, her name is, by the way. And so this was a second film, really, and she contacted me again because the first collaboration was smooth and nice, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was basically it, you know. We're still keeping in touch, of course. It's always nice when you get to know someone with the communication aspect of it, because this is so much about communication. It's all about understanding how to understand each other, and when she asks for something, then I can. There's a lot in there, but that was it for this film. And I'm hoping for more. Then we know how you got into this movie specifically. So working together with, I guess, the editor, director, making the music, like, did you usually tend to get like a clip of like, yeah, you need to put the music on this thing? Or was music more stated like, oh, we're thinking about this type of scene, you make music for this, and then you sent an audio clip and then they did movie magic? It's also something that develops and changes from project to project, in my experience anyway. In this specific case, it was very straightforward. It was quick, easy, and it was a mix of both. Sometimes I had a scene and I had to, I took a look at it, worked on some music for it, sent it. But Now, this was a couple of years back, so you have to
No
forgive
worries.
me for not remembering exactly how it went down. But I remember, and I know that when we work, it's less image and more words, more conversation, and then music making, and then put it to image, and then make adjustments after that.
Okay.
So for this specific collaboration and these projects, it's been like that, and it could well be a thing where it's how that will work when we work together. We'll see.
Of course.
Yeah.
And considering that you seem to have worked a little bit with multiple kind of styles, then which one do you usually prefer yourself? Do you like to see a movie bit that you put the music on, or are you more of a free spirit that likes the text and you can be more free in what you create and then make the adjustments later?
I think for now, I really just spontaneously today I would answer. I really like the freedom of only talking about feelings and trying to really get into, because what I want to do, when I succeed, it's not when I've made a complicated song or something like that. It's when I see the director, or when they tell me like, whoa, this is it, this is what I needed, like I didn't know, thank you. That's where I've succeeded. So to get to that space, I don't always need the image, but in order to know that it works really, like on screen, I would need to see the image. So it's I could well start without, just to get to that space where I know that I've communicated what they want, and then I would like to at least I want to see in the end, of course, how it's played out, because it's so important. It's the whole product, really. It's the music and the image together in the end.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's kind of unique working with movies, because every time you're seeing a movie, you have the music on the same spot at the same time all the time. Like it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, but if you play a video game, it's like doesn't matter. Like you can be in a whole other section every time you get to the horse scene, for example.
Yeah, it's different. Definitely the linear one and the interactive one, and we've been talking a lot about films, so we will. But eventually, we're gonna talk a little bit more about games too. But I think it's a very interesting difference between the two formats.
Yes, it is. It is. Even though there kind of has similarities to it, they're still very different. And I think it's mainly due to the interactiveness. And I know some people have been trying, especially on YouTube. It was, let's say, like 8 years ago or something like that. People were really going into interactive movie media where you can just press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order to get different choices. And they made movies that way as well in order to keep it more playful. And today, it's only games. We don't need to do that with movies and video.
Exactly. Yeah. And people who have worked a lot with specifically game music obviously knows that there's a whole other way of composing the music where you need to take in consideration the interactiveness of it all. Yeah, so it's more technical and everything. Maybe we can talk about it later, but with as you say, with films, you can pause, you can play, you can rewind, pause, play. Do I feel? What's you can really get into the details in a way of the storytelling.
You said a little bit about the complexity, like you're not focusing on the complexity, you're focusing more a little bit about the director in this case. And I'm guessing since you're not especially needing to focus on the audience like the director needs to do, I'm guessing you see the director as the customer rather than the listener in the end.
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously, yes, always. Like this is our work. We're there to please. Obviously, make our own decisions, our own. But it's always, that's the beauty of this work, I think, too. It's not only that I get to make music, but it's that I get to work with these different, people who are have all different ways of talking about music or talking about storytelling and just different methods all around. So it's always the director in the end that decides how the story is to be told, and specifically then again for documentaries, I have found that working with an editor is often, that's who you work a lot with, and the editor together with the director then
Those are the bread and butter.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also it's a nice way to have some not to lean on, but to work together with. You're not so left out there alone as a composer. You're always in a team. So you can always discuss things, and I love that part of it. You're not left out. It's not scary, because you get to talk to people and you get to ask. You get to how do you think about this? That does this work? Does this work? We have to stay open-minded.
Yeah.
For us to succeed as composers, as film composers, we need to be open-minded. We need to know that it's a collaboration. We can't go, this is it. Here you go. This is sad. Because you
need to leave the ego a little bit aside sometimes.
A little bit, I've been in projects where I'm not going to name anything, but I came into this work with that mindset from the start. I've been on projects where I had to go in and help the directors with music because they maybe worked with an artist, say somebody who's famous, and already is an artist, and these people are obviously very good at what they do, but maybe not as good as to step aside from their artistry and go, so that's a very important thing for anybody who wants to.
I'm guessing it's a hard balance as well, like they're taking you in as the composer. The director is not the composer, but the director has the visual representation of what they want to kind of give out to the people in the end. Yeah. So as a composer, you come in as some sort of an expert, in a sense. So having that balance between what the director wants and what you want to be the best within the music, how does that, like, as a last question before we go into the next, I'm guessing it's such a big question, though.
It is.
Like, how hard was it for you to find that balance in a sense? Has it been a struggle?
It hasn't. I think I came in with the right mindset from the start, knowing from the beginning, because I had this sort of mentor, we could call him the editor there on the first film, Eric. We both agreed, and I talked about this. I remember talking about this earlier with him. Like, I have to have a mindset here with openness to change and listening to critique and changing after feedback, the feedback loop. And changing, that's essential. It's really the way to get in there. Some directors, you go spot on. You find the thing immediately, maybe. With some, you need to work a lot to find that thing. So it is, in the end, again, a different way, depending on who you work with. But staying open is key, I think. Just staying open, just knowing that this specific work as a composer for a film is about helping somebody else find the music. We make it. That's our expertise. But the expertise is also like finding that, in whatever way you need to. And the way is never to say, this is it. This is what I do. That's never gonna be the way. But we can do that on the side, though. I mean, I can have my own artistry and gigs, Gustav Wall, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing to me.
If you want to do it your way, do it your way.
Yeah. You go ahead and do it your way. Yeah, go ahead and do it your way. Find a label, a distributor.
But I think that is some good, like, wisdom there. It's beautiful to hear. The way you're laying it out and trying to get people to understand together with each other. I think it's just beautiful. I love that cooperative feeling myself. I love to have those discussions because even if those discussions might take a little bit longer, it's not gonna delay a project a year or two. We're talking about 5 to 30 minutes, maybe an hour. But in the end, you're getting a better product.
Yeah. You're getting a better product, and the way there is always like it's a nice feeling to have worked something out together with somebody else. In the end.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's a balance. It's a balance. So sometimes you need to also say, perhaps you can do that with contracts. You can have these many revisions or whatever, depending on what sort of situation you're in. It's also important to go. Sometimes you can affect a director, in your direction too. That's that's I think also a balance thing where if you're Hans Zimmer, maybe you can go, no, that is not good enough, and then it's the director will say, no, it's not. But it's also a thing where. But yeah, in the end, I think the key here is we're working for somebody else, and we should never forget that.
Yeah, awesome. And with that, I think we're ready to dive into the next track of the week. And this time, it is a track that does not have a title, and we will go more into why when we've listened to it. But it is from the series The Journey. There we're fading out The Journey, and there are no title track for this one, or title for this track. Title track, come on. And my emotion for this one, it has a mysterious start. It builds up a bit puzzling, curious, and quickly it gets into its core melody. The build-up, the instrument, it gives me a very similar vibe as to the Rainbow Six games, the type of experience where the SWAT team or the military team will do something heroic. The drums in the second half of this track, it gives me a little bit of jungle or being chased type of style. I would like to hear a little bit more on the journey here. What was the setting on this one? As I said on Fosterfamiljen, I have not seen this either.
Yeah, no problem. It's a TV series. This is a new sort of gig for me when I got this job. This was my first ever like major TV. And this is not a drama production. This is actually reality TV. So this is just only talking about TV series versus documentaries versus different sort of films, shorts, drama, and then you have all the genres. There are obviously different sorts of productions, and when it comes to this sort of reality, I think it goes under TV. The setting here is this is for Viaplay, and it was released 2022, I think.
That is correct.
Yeah, and you have these celebrities, Peter Stormare, Isabella Scorupco, and so on. Roy Fares.
We have big names.
Big names, and they're supposed to go on this epic journey, climbing in the mountains, and they have this TV production team with them, so they're going through this physically demanding task, also experience in the nature at the same time. So
I do wonder who had the most physical issues here, the cameraman or the celebrities.
Yeah, probably somebody behind the cameras, because they have to carry all the things and go on errands all the time too. And please, the
you need to run ahead so we can film them while they're climbing, and you need to stay here.
Exactly. And please, all the celebrities always with their demands. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting realm to be in with the composing if you take on different, because again, like, so projects are always different. So in this case, the new project, new type of production for me, and also new people to work with. I had the pleasure again to work with a guy called Hammer, his name is, and he again, collaborating, writing music together with someone, basically. It could be a director, editor, in this case, editor, producer.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly what role to put on him.
Yeah.
Oh, but head. There were many editors for this project. So, anyways, what was the question? How did it start, or how did I get into this?
You started going into this yourself in this case. We started by talking about the cameraman going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
And physical abusing themselves.
One
thing that comes to mind is like, yeah, that is okay. That is okay. And that's what I love about this as well, because you're rambling and you're speaking out of heart. That's what I think is the golden moment here to take away from this. No, but one thing that pops into my mind is like you talked about there's differences in this. What was the biggest difference going into this type of production from a music perspective as a composer?
This specific project, the epicness of it all was my, coming from mellow, minimalistic 3 tones piano documentary movies to a journey for commercial television where, people need to feel a lot instantly, It's always about feelings, of course, that's fine, but it's more, yeah. So that was the hardest part for me here, to make it swell, and to make this music really epic, because that's not like a genre that I've been working with a lot before this, obviously,
Diving into a new genre was one of the bigger
one of the
hurdles.
And so luckily I had this real good collaborator who I could go back and forth with a lot, with this. So I spit out an idea, he comes back, maybe try this. He was very creative. Some of these people aren't, some don't have a lot to say. Maybe we talk more emotions. This was a lot of specificity. He was specific with his requests, and that can always help, when you're out there on new realms, new waters, so to speak. I was lucky to get to work with him, taking these compositions to the next level. It was always about that. I'm not sure if I should get into how I started with getting out the theme here,
if you want to, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, because it's basically the way I usually do it is I put my fingers on the piano. It doesn't matter if it's going to be an epic or whatever instrument in the end is going to be used. It's always at the piano, where I can sort of get that melody out, And so obviously we had discussions with the producers and everything with the team for this production, what direction we want to take the music, what do we want to tell story-wise. All these things are the same. I think even if it's a reality TV or if it's a documentary, there's always a story to be told, really, somewhere in there. So I sat down and I tried to figure out some way to tell an epic, which is, come to think of it, this is do. I'm going from down to up, so to speak. Like we're going up. We're gonna climb mountains. So I'm bringing the melody from some place lower to some place higher, as opposed to basically the first melody I talked about with my argument with my brother. I was the other way, like from up to down. Come to think of it, so it's interesting like that.
Yeah.
We sat down on the melody, took that, and then we wanted to have different kinds of feelings, or we wanted different versions of this. We wanted to find a theme, that was the journey, the theme.
Yeah.
Would
that be similar to like a motif?
A motif, something that it's like an audio branding too, I mean, to make an example, the McDonald's audio. Yeah. So that's the concept of finding something melodic or audio wise that sticks out, that attaches to a thing that when you hear it, you think of that. You know, it can be a brand, it can be a movie, it could be anything. That's also something that is very deep into this, like an important thing to think about in these, specifically this, you know, you have a product here, it's a TV show, it's supposed to, you know, stick out or whatever. So we wanted to find that, the essence, the motif, the theme. And then when we had done that, we had our ways of working. You know, we basically delivered a package of music that could be edited in for different moments during the show, you know?
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know how much I can go into the details of how we worked specifically, but that's the theme here. We're finding a theme and then we're making versions of it so we can, like I just said, put into different pieces.
I have one question surrounding like in working with different projects and so on. One thing that comes to mind always when we're talking about video game music is usually people that want some sort of music or making some sort of game. They usually come with like references, like, we want to make a jungle, so we want that music to be like a Donkey Kong music kind of theme. It's like, can you work with that? It's like, how does it work with movies in that sense?
Yeah.
Do they usually can they make references to certain music genre styles or other work, for example?
Oh yeah, definitely, and that can be a little bit different depending on sort of film, I think, sort of project. But obviously, yes, some of them are very specific. You know, I want it to sound like this or that, and some are more flexible. You know, when it comes to documentaries, they often use some sort of mask music. In Swedish, we would say maskmusik. Temp music would be the English word. So the editors, you know, when they edit the movie, they put in some sort of a temp music. And there's a problem here because sometimes they get so attached to the temp music so that when you change it, you know, for the original score later on, you're like, they're not really satisfied because they've become so attached to the temp music. So they're like, but the temp music could be, you know, Hans Zimmer music or whatever, you know, some huge composer.
It can be very problematic.
Yeah, so they cannot work with that material, of course, but then they hire somebody like me to say, you know, can you please make an Alexandra Desplat thing here? And I'm like, whoa, that's gonna be tricky.
Thanks, but no thanks. Where's the door? It was this way, right?
Yeah. And actually, a fun thing that has happened to other composers too, I think, and it has happened to me, is they have used my music as temp music and then asked me to change it for something new. That's even trickier, you know, because then you're like, whoa, so what?
I'm gonna reference myself.
I'm gonna reference
what should I think about?
yeah. So, but that's a way to do it in documentaries, and another way in this specific case, like working with, you know, reality sort of productions here or TV productions, could be that you have a brief. You always have some sort of a brief, right? Artistic direction in all the different disciplines, not only audio, where you reference things. So yeah, some reference songs maybe, and very important there, I think, to talk again. Like communication is key in this line of work always, so that when they maybe give you the reference, you perhaps, if they don't already say, maybe you ask questions, you know, what specific thing about this music is it's that you like, what are you looking for? We don't want to hear musical terms, we want to hear emotions. Yeah, that's what it's all about, you know. We just want to hear, I just want to hear a director talk about, I want to feel like this or feel like that or whatever, you know, and let us take care of the music side of things, because if they get too specific with the instruments and stuff, that sort of takes away the
freedom in a sense,
and
right?
also it's not really, it does. We need to ask a counter question then, I think. What is it about that instrument that you like? Or, you know, just have them open up so we can really suck in all the things that we need to, because it's all about we need to understand them. Yeah,
that is true. Understanding your customers so you know what they actually want. Sometimes they can have a hard time articulating what they want, but all of a sudden it's like, we really like this piano. It's like, oh, so you like the piano because it has this kind of thing on.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to ask those questions and have them open up. So, leave the music, the job to us, of finding the right instrument and the right melody and the right harmony and the right whatever.
Yeah.
And please just explain like how you want to feel, what do you want to tell here, and leave the rest to us. I think that's better. Yeah,
that's a good takeaway. Now, one thing that always comes to mind is when somebody, I remember some composer talking a little bit about it online. But if you have a reference saying like, oh, I love the theme from Friends and I would love to have this, and they send you that reference, do you feel like if you listen to it and try to reference it, that you can kind of try to copy it a little bit in order to just make the customer happier? Or can you detach yourself from the reference?
Yeah, personally, I don't have a lot of issues with, being too similar and things like that, because in the end, I think it's more about collaborating again, finding a vision for someone else, not so much about me being. I think the uniqueness of your work just comes automatically if you just stick to the rules of the composer. Okay. But obviously, when it becomes too, I want it to sound exactly like this or that. I don't think that's very interesting. It's not. You don't get to really talk a lot, or it's just not as interesting. But if it gets the work done and it's a fast thing, I'm not talking about like whole productions now. With this, but rather maybe some sort of a short thing that's delivers on Monday, and you get the thing on a Friday, and it's supposed to be
short-term work,
maybe some let's say a social media commercial thingy that needs original score, and they want it to sound a lot like something but not exactly that. Then I would make my own interpretation of it and make the customer happy, and not make a big fuss of it, but definitely trying to avoid to copy, and being too
Makes
because
sense.
That's basically not
too similar and so on.
Too similar, and it's just not nice or fun even, maybe.
I'm guessing it feels like you're not actually doing that job then, because you're just copying somebody else's work. So it's just a carbon copy.
I mean, it doesn't become like this. It just takes away from the whole thing that we're talking about, really, like the profession of, the fun of all of this. It's not to copy paste some MIDI to make it sound exactly like something else. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that is kind of the questions that I had surrounding movies and series right now, because the next stage we're going into is you doing music for a video game.
Yeah.
Like, what I want to hear before we dive into that song, like, what made you go into this? We haven't really talked about you playing video games when you were young and you strived to start working on video game music all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, what was the first kind of like step for you to get into this area?
To get into it was, I think, it was a really bad timing from my part, because it was just after Corona, COVID, and the industry, But I think it was right after the Journey. I had this other day job, sort of, when doing the Journey music, and I quit it. I quit that day job because I was like, now I'm making television music. This is huge.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then when that was over, I was like, ooh, okay, what now?
Panic kicks in.
Yeah, like there was no agent who called me and said like, yeah, Hollywood just in, they want this, they want that. So I was sitting there, in my lonesome, thinking, what the fuck? What should I do now? But it wasn't like I never wanted to work, had thought about video game music or sound effects before. It's always been with me. I played video games since I was a kid, of course, and what happened there with the transition though, I got involved. I sort of started looking into. Yeah, because these film projects, right? They are like you get in there and you get to work with the audio, the music, and it's a couple of months maybe, chunks of time, and you work on it, and then you release it, and then boom, it's gone. That's what happened with this journey thing. So I wanted something. I wanted to look. How can I work with this storytelling, this music thing, this audio thing that we're talking about on a longer run? Like daily.
Yeah.
And obviously games are like that. So if you come into a team when you have to make a game, it can take up to 8 years. It can take 2 years, 3 years, 1 year. But then you get to work with that thing that you love all day long for a longer time. So that was actually one of the things that wanted me to get into games. And also like being a gamer, loving games is obviously like, wow. That's something that you think when you grow up. I'm born 85, so I had a Nintendo NES was my first console, and I've had all of them since, So just like even working with game audio or making music for games, it's so far away from your mind. It's just somebody else who does it, really, when you grow up. It's just like, that's not a career, you can't do that. But then it dawned on me, made all this music for these film storytelling, and of course I can make it for games. So I started looking into what I had to do, what mindset I had to get into. It's all technical, it's a new realm, it's interactive. What does that mean? Oh shit, I need to learn new software in between, my DAW and the final product. Could be WISE or FMOD, and I have to look into all these things. And one of the things that happened there also was, okay, so I'm not throwing away a number now, but let's say I heard an interview with somebody who said 80% of the game composers have done sound effect work too before. Yeah, something like that. I'm just throwing out a number, but a lot of them. So that made me think, maybe I could, and also like to get into a team, and in the team, I had to learn that it's not like a composer for films. You're not going to get a call and go like, yeah, can you make some music? Okay, thank you, bye. Or was that even what I wanted? No, it wasn't. I wanted to get into the team. I went into the thing, into the development.
Yeah.
So I understood, okay, shit, I need to learn what all of this is about. So I contacted, there's this Game Habitat, Dev Hub in Malmö.
Yes. So there's a hub for game developers, small to big, that can get an office space and kind of co-work in a sense. Like everybody's working from the same space, and they have these open spaces where they can talk to each other, demo their games and so on together. And they do have, I think it's monthly meetings as well, where everybody from the outside can also get in and socialize and network.
Yeah, exactly. Well put. So that's what I did. I rented a space, an open space, the cheapest one, for me to just bring my laptop, sit there and engage with people, work on some short, maybe music things I had on the side. And I met some lovely people there. And I met Nicole, I remember, who was then later the producer for Frog Song Studios. And we started, having lunch together there. I sort of asked, is this seat taken, because I was there all by myself. And real nice people, lovely game devs, and that's where that started really. River Towns was released later, a couple of years later from that day.
Yep.
And I had the pleasure of getting to do the sound effects for it, which was then the sound effects, really. And they all knew that I had a music background, so that was underneath there. But the game needed sounds. And during this period, I also got to learn a lot about the work of sound design, how it's made, what's the difference between sound design and composing, in terms of how do you get the, how does the work look, what do you do? So I got into sound design aspect of things a lot.
Awesome.
At that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to dive deeper into the sound design, because you made so much more sound design for this game than the music. But before we dive into that, let's actually listen into the theme, the main theme, I guess, for River Towns, right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome. So yeah, let's listen in on the main theme from the game, River Towns. last track of the week. This was from the game River Towns, and this is the main theme. And for people that don't know about River Towns is a puzzling solving game focused on placing buildings. More like, they look a little bit Tetris shaped, those things. They are, of course, other shapes, but just to give a good similarity so people get the vision. But you're creating vibrant cities in this world of river towns. Each district does have a unique style and shape, and making every level its brand new challenge. The game, it was released on the 24th of March 2025, and the game was also developed by Frog Song Studios, which is based in Malmö, Sweden. And my emotion for this main theme, it does give off a little bit of a medieval tavern. It does still have a little bit of gothic touch to it with the darker tones, but I believe that this is caused by the slow drums that we can hear in the background of the track. The track itself, it is short, but it's sweet and sets a nice mood. And I feel like I'm preparing a little bit for an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? This game I've played. I played this on Nordic Game. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. It wasn't last one. It was last one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed it so far of what I've played. The game is, of course, live since last year. So, but yeah. Take it away. It's like, what did you feel about my interpretation of the song, first and foremost?
It was good. Yeah. And the medieval, it's like you cannot escape from that thing of it feeling like a medieval thing. We had a little short discussion of maybe it was just something that happened naturally. It's not like a set in a specific
time period or so?
Really, you know?
It feels a little bit fantasy-ish.
Yeah, so basically I think more relevant or things to push on regarding the theme. And by the way, there's music in this game that I have not made. When you play and when you build, there's a guy called Maciek Dobulowski who made the music before I even entered making sound designs for this game. So just wanted to say that so you know. The theme that we heard now, I made specifically for the teaser trailer, and then it ended up as the in-game menu music too. So it's the music that you hear when you get into the game, and then as soon as you hit, get into it and play, it fades out, and in comes Magic's nice vibes for you to play to. Yeah. So anyways, we wanted to, it's about building things, but it's also about like not conquering, but prosperity, going from a place of abandonedness or desertness, and building something. That's what the whole idea here is, really. It was the working name or the project name before release. An early name was Empire Builder. And maybe if for me at least, when I take those words into consideration, Empire Builder, I feel like music resonates with that a little bit, It's like a sort of a building up a foundation thing, prosperity. I wanted it to feel like that a little bit at least. But yeah, so it was basically meant for the trailer, but it ended up in the game.
Yeah.
And when just the melody, I think as usual at the piano, you sit down and you feel like, okay, I'm like gathering all these emotions that I want to put into the theme, and trying to find a melody to it.
Were there any differences between the trailer music and the menu music, or they're just moved from the trailer into?
There's a little bit of tweaking done for it to be able to loop properly.
Oh, okay.
So that's it, basically.
So just the ending, basically.
Just the ending, just the loopiness of it all, making it loop.
Yeah.
And I'd made some other music too for another cinematic in the game too.
Okay.
Some small segments, but this turned out to be the main, and I'm happy, because it sort of became it's such a clear melody and themey melody. So I think that's why we also ended up using it for the menu music, basically, because it's sort of we talked about audio branding before. It's such a clear maybe melody that sticks into the head, and I think that could be very good to have for these situations, menus, and stuff like
It's
that.
true. Considering that when you joined the project, there have already been a composer working with the music and so on. Did that also make any difference when you made this track then for the trailer?
Oh,
like it needs to
yeah.
have similarities, I guess.
Yeah, now that you say it, maybe not intentionally, but definitely we talked about temp music before, That could be some sort of a situation where I had heard his music, obviously, playing the game.
Yeah.
So I must have taken that into consideration. Some things happen, without you thinking about it. But as we're talking about it, it definitely had,
yes.
yeah, most likely had influence. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm guessing like if you have this kind of calm, nice music, and then when you start building, it's like death metal, and it's like something happened here.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's like you get dislocated from the experience itself.
But it's also now we're talking about different sorts of music. It's nice that we're going from this sort of not bombastic, but like it leans to bombastic. Like bum ba da dum bum 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 bum. It's very
It's like bombastic simplicity. It's like it's a low amount of instruments, but you're making this epicness on top of it.
Yeah. It's not ambient anyway. So the going from that in the menu, I think it's nice because when you click play or you hit play, it's supposed to be a calm and cozy game too. There's no time limit. There's no stress. You get all the time in the world to figure out how to build these things.
Yeah.
And that's the way that he did the music perfectly, I think, because you get into this calm state, but it intensifies as you get maybe closer to the end or stuff like that. It's interactive, obviously, because it's a game. But I think the balance here, going from my menu music to his in-game music, is works out very well. So I think this is also a good thing to keep in mind that you can also work together. Maybe now we didn't work together, him and I, so much, but collaborating with other composers can also be something to think about. Maybe.
Yeah, be very fruitful.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the audio design as well for this game, it's like how does audio design differentiate from making a track with music for a game? Like we're talking in a sense about music, but not in the same way.
Yeah, they are two different disciplines, right? It is two different disciplines, lines of work, really. It is. Some of them, like me, we do both. Maybe I've done more composition work than sound design, and some others have made more sound design work than composition. And sometimes they blend together, Sometimes it's hard to differentiate what's what, especially when compositions get sound designy. That's, I think, where they tend to blend, so it's different. But when it comes to like methods of working and structure of work, I think there's obviously a very big separation from these two. I haven't been in games so long so that I can like confidently discuss out of own experience the real difference of working as a composer as opposed to sound effects in games. I did get the opportunity to work with sound design for this game though, and I love when we work with music, we work with big strokes. So imagine a big brush of emotion, right? Because we can tell so much with music. Instantly it feels a lot, right? But with sound design, to me, is cool because we still communicate things and we still tell stories, but we do it on such a more like specific, detailed way.
I would say sound design is more micro audio in a sense, like the coin sound from Mario. It gives happiness. Yeah,
exactly. And maybe oftentimes we are telling stories and we're not even thinking about it when we're playing or watching. So anyway, I obviously got into sound design a lot at this transition with DevHub and everything, because I realized also that like getting into game composition work, it's good to have a good solid sound design foundation. I think if you're gonna get into it like in a team, really like iterating, working every day. So I got into it and I found it very interesting and super fun and cool to do. And I found these guys, and at the time that I rented this place at DevHub, we were in a big move situation. Me and my family were gonna move out to the countryside, and we did. And I got this new other work as a salesperson person thing on a thing where I had to make a lot of phone calls. And this was at this, I mentioned before in the start that my mom passed away, and she was really sick at this time when I worked there. And she died, and I had this job that I didn't want really, and that was actually a transition for me to say, you know what, I'm gonna quit this job and call myself unemployed, for real this time. Not half-assed, like having a side job and calling myself a composer officially or whatever, but really like go out there and internally and externally say, I am unemployed, I don't have any work. And I did that, and it was actually a real good thing to do, because I put myself in a situation where I was like, okay, shit, I need to really figure out, like, what can I do to keep on working with this audio thing?
Yeah, make it viable.
Yeah, make it viable. So I hustled around with that, and I tried to figure out how, and I ended up getting an internship through the, Arbetsförmedlingen, the Swedish unemployment agency. And I had the opportunity, so I could call my new, game dev friends at Frogsong saying, hey guys, I'm at the situation where you can sign this paper here, I'll get paid from the Swedish agency, and I can perhaps make some sounds for your game, So that's how it ended up. I did that at the same time as I was unemployed. Through Arbetsförmedlingen, I had the opportunity to take a course in audio production, as an unemployed person. And through this course, we got this internship, and that's how I ended up making the sound effects for this game. And eventually then the music too. And a fun fact, a real nice fact is also that at this company who delivered this audio production course through Arbetsförmedlingen that I went to, they actually wanted me to start working for them. Now I do, and I'm employed there, having this work where I get to talk about audio all day, not in a production environment. It's an educational environment. It's very interesting, I'm learning a lot on the way as an instructor.
That's awesome.
But still I am in this, realm of audio now. And so, I wouldn't have gotten there, I think, if I hadn't really just quit that job and taken that step, from that, from something that was actually a job with an income to something unknown, really.
You're literally throwing yourself into the nothingness. It's like you're taking the leap of faith in this sense, if we want to talk in the game references.
Sort of. And then you have this backup of like here in Sweden, financial, it's not a good financial situation, but at least some sort of a backup, I'm not throwing myself on a bench really, but still taking that mental leap, of calling yourself. I mean, that was good, I think. And luckily I ended up getting to, work from my studio now. So I was lucky in that sense again.
That is amazing.
So that's a side track, maybe a side story from the game, but it was still like my way into games. What's that, And you hear all these different stories of how people get into games, and it's a difficult industry to get into, of course. But
definitely,
a lot of people, I think, take leaps of faith to get that first credit,
Yes.
Not only the credit, but also the new friends you get, from working on a game in a team.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the people from the studio as well, personally. And I can definitely vouch for the type of family you get by knowing these people.
Yeah. Such a cozy, nice little Frog Song family,
Definitely.
I was very lucky to get to work with these guys. It was amazing. And, we still keep in contact, and you never know what happens in the future and stuff like that. It's all about, keeping calm. The game dev boat is, unstable, I guess. At the moment, we don't know exactly what's going on or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But keep those friends, and keep contact.
Keep the bridges open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it can be really a struggle in these times, and this is also why I took certain actions as I did myself. But in the end, I hope everything will pan out for everybody, even if they're starting their endeavor or if they're just having a little bit of an issue right now with it. But considering that you did the sound design for this, I need to ask one specific question. Which one of the audio design that was available in Rivertown, so people can play the game and hear it, which one was your favorite?
It was recorded Jonas, programmer on the team. When you zoom in to the purple buildings, if you zoom into those, you will hear a sound design. Because when you zoom into all the different buildings, you hear different things. And when you zoom into the purple ones specifically, we wanted to create some sort of a magical sound design, and I had the pleasure to record one of the guys on the team to make whisper sounds, So listen for those. That was my favorite one, because then we really had to cooperate, and I asked Jonas to make some whisper sounds. I think I wanted to play them backwards, for it to be like a whispery sort of witch demonic, but more witch. There's more of a witch thing.
Yeah.
So I was gonna play them backwards, but he a genius as he is, he made it backwards from the start when we recorded it. I remember it like that anyway, slowly. He just immediately understood what I wanted. So
that's awesome.
That's a fun thing. And the other sound effects are also have all those different stories, but that's the best one, I think. Yeah.
That one sounds like it's like a what is it called? Like a hidden gem. It's not.
Yeah, sort of an
like
Easter egg thing. Yeah.
Easter egg, yeah. Not maybe not everybody will notice that, but if you do, now you have it.
Yeah, now you have it. Zoom in.
Exactly.
Both with eyes and ears.
So before we're closing down this episode as well, is there anything else on River Towns that you felt like I forgot to ask about?
Not really, I think I've been rambling enough for people to they're probably fed up with my voice by now. But yeah, I don't think so. Just get out there and play it. It got real good reviews on Steam. People are enjoying it, and it's a gem of a game. So
yeah, if you like more of these kind of Zen puzzle games, I think definitely this is going to be for you.
Definitely. Yeah.
So a little bit of an info scope from the developers, as I was in contact with the more personal one of mine, who is a founder of the game studio as well. So in spring, there will actually be a full Steam Deck and a full gamepad support for the game as an update. So for people who are interested in the game and don't want to play it on a PC, here's the info that in spring, there will be a full Steam Deck and full gamepad support for the game.
Yes.
Oh yeah. With that, I want to focus a little bit back on all the 3 tracks or all the 3 projects that we have. And I usually prepare the composer for these questions, but I totally forgot it this time. Because we're going to talk a little bit about each and every project here, and we will see what you remember. Not specifically. This is not a quiz or anything. This is basically going through a little bit what you felt was a challenge during the project and what you felt was achievement with that project.
Oh, yeah.
So
nice.
When we're looking at Fosterfamiljen, the first one that we talked about today, what did you feel was the challenge that you were struggling a little bit with? Maybe you couldn't just get your head around.
Yeah, exactly. It was from a perspective of smoothness, this was a very smooth project. So, I think maybe a challenge was because of the smoothness, sometimes I feel like I want more, walls to go through or struggles to have to, not sure how to put this, but when it's too smooth, really, it's like a part of the job that I do is a little bit forgotten, or
you're getting too relaxed.
I'm getting too relaxed. It's going too smooth, and this was due to several things, I think. But there was a couple of tunes for this film that I had previously made, and I had to just rearrange a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just coming to terms with that, it's not always about finding something, struggling and working with the way you're used to doing things, but letting go and also being open to really working in new ways and lending maybe material from other projects and transcribing them for this one. That was, I think, the new thing here, the challenge. And it's obviously, you can hear when I'm saying it doesn't sound like a real struggle, but more of a, something new.
It could definitely have been there at that point in time as well. It's like one doesn't like take away the other in this case.
Yeah.
But then, considering the achievement point of this, what was it with this project that you were happy about, or that you felt like you learned something new that you can take to the next step?
Yeah, I think that's a difficult question. I should have prepared a bit.
Yeah, this is all on me, people. Usually I prepared the composer before this segment, so they are aware of this, so they can have this in their back of their mind. And now I'm just putting Gustav on the pedestal here. And it's like, please answer.
Yeah, no, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But it's also some time ago, so I need to sort of like think back, to the. I'm just very happy about I don't want to call it a product, but the film, and how it turned out. I was glad to see afterwards that it can be a film music can turn out to be very good, even if it's not intended for that film, maybe at the start. But you can use things from other projects that obviously, I mean, hands down did for this project.
Yeah.
In some of the compositions in Birds that we listened to before. And it can turn out very well. So that I took with me that, I guess, from this film.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then going onward to The Journey, what was the challenge there? I'm guessing
epic.
Starting to work with that type of production.
Yeah, epicness was the challenge. Not a collaboration or something like this, but the epicness. There's actually, there's a version of this theme that we didn't listen to. It's called Stress, and I remember clearly. I tried to make it so epic, and the producers were like, more epic. And I was like, come on now. I've got nothing left in me, This is I can't put anything else in here, It's gonna start sounding awful if I do.
Yeah. How do I make it more epic? Press the keys harder?
Yeah, the thing is, like, how I did make it more epic was I removed things. Yeah,
less is more.
I removed things, a classic Yngwie Malmsteen sort of situation here, where less is more. And I removed some things, some tracks, some instruments. I can't remember exactly, but I remember I removed things, sent them new versions, and they were like, yeah, now it's epic.
You're like, silly people.
Yeah, I didn't tell.
We all think it.
But that's definitely a thing. Less is more sometimes.
Yeah, but it is insane how things work sometimes. Like, taking things away, all of a sudden it feels more filled up. But at the same time, I've seen like versions where people just shake the salt over the water, and all of a sudden it's more saltier.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense. They didn't put more salt in it. So it's all about what people actually think when they don't actually think it sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes.
but yeah,
it's like
less is more is actually very effective from time to time.
Yeah.
But looking at the achievement then for The Journey.
I mean, I was really happy with how it turned out. I got feedback from the participants, having these celebs write me, the music was epic, it was real good, blah, blah, blah. It took away, again, like you build up some confidence, like from the first thing I ever did there, with the editor for the short documentary film in Malmö. Same feeling again, you get validated somehow, you know that like this is good, and it's a bigger production, and also collaboratively it was a pleasure really to work with these guys, and I really felt I took that with me as well.
That's awesome.
Communication, like clear, straight, empathetical answers to questions.
These are skills that you can take to the next project.
Yeah. So it's not always about the compositions and the music, it's a lot about the collaborations. Teamwork.
Yeah. And then, of course, the last one, River Towns. Well, what did you feel was the challenge there? I'm guessing going into sound design.
Sound design, definitely. Yeah. So much to learn. New realm, new ways to think. Also
new struggles.
The interactiveness of it all. I had to learn a little bit of program. I had a lot of help with the implementation from Jonas specifically. That I mentioned earlier, who made the whispery sounds for the whispery things. So challenge-wise was to, get into the mindset of games, really. Iterating, making lots of versions, many versions of things, using all the available tools, because there are many.
Yeah.
And just getting into the whole thing of, and also being, at the time, unemployed. And
True.
not having really a good foundation behind me when doing this work.
Yeah.
It was really I didn't know.
Because you had a lot of stress in that sense.
Stress. Pressure. Yeah, stress and pressure. I really felt like I had to step up to, to make it good and yeah.
Could this lean into the achievement that you were able to get through this pressure?
I mean, I got to meet some fantastic new people who I'm still in contact with. Kudos to all of you. Really lovely, I got to work in this team of game development. I wanted that. I wanted to experience that, not being alone in a studio working on music for 2 months and then bye-bye, which is, I love still making film music and stuff like that, but the team effortness here, the hangouts, everybody who's worked in a team, maybe game dev knows what I'm talking about, the Fridays, the coffees in the break room. I miss it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the episode. We've gone through 3 different kind of styles of music as well.
Yeah.
But was there anything else that you felt like we missed on this, or we've come through everything now?
Oh,
with these 3?
To me, we've come far.
Yeah.
It was my first ever podcasting too, so I don't know. I probably talked too much or something, but I'm really happy about this.
I'm so happy to have you here, but we are not over with the questions, because looking forward, is there anything you can talk about that is in the loops right now, or is it all a mist?
Yeah. There's one big thing coming up, and I think I'm signing a deal on it this week.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
then.
but I'm gonna be very mysterious about it, because I have signed an NDA too on it, so it's I can't talk about it. But
something big is happening, at least.
Something big is happening. Yeah, it's fun. It's and it's composing, so it's music this time, or as it usually is, though. So yeah.
Are you able to say if it's for movies or
Yeah. It's for
games?
TV. It's for TV.
For TV. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then we're definitely keeping a lookout for that then.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. Are you still focusing a little bit more on trying to get into more video game projects as well, or
I'm always
you're just keeping everything open?
No, yeah, everything is open, but I'm definitely now that I talked about Frog Song, the process of making the sound design for that game, I just basically I felt really I miss it, Yeah, so I miss that environment of working in games and development of games and using my audio expertise, putting it in there. I would be very happy to get in that situation again. We'll see what happens, I'm always keeping my eyes out, ears out.
Yeah.
The industry is unstable, yada yada, but we'll see what happens.
But if there are any developer listening in on this episode and they felt like, hey, Gustav might be a really good match for what we're doing, it's like, how can they reach out to you then?
I mean,
you're going to give your number here in the podcast?
Zeros. No.
And this is my credit card number.
Yeah, exactly. And here's my bank ID, which is like the thing. No. Please reach out. I mean, I have a website. It's myname.com, gustavwall.com. I have my email address there somewhere in the bottom. I'm not very active. Like I've got LinkedIn. You'll find me.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to chat, of course. I'm always curious to projects, be it games, films, long, short, anything where I could put my...
Will you be staying in the Discord? So if people want to go in the Discord to chat you up then as well?
Of course,
Yeah?
yes.
Awesome.
I use it daily, so...
That is great. But yeah. Awesome. Then we know a little bit that you have something going on, but you're still open for more.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I hope that there are some developers out there listening on this episode, find this to liking and reaches out to you.
Oh, thank you so much, man. No, but it's really nice. It's really nice of you to create this space.
It is my honor to have you here on the podcast in the spotlight to talk about your experiences, hard, good, and developing.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks. It's been a pleasure. It's been a little scary, but at the same time, real fun.
Yeah, hopefully it's been not too scary at least.
No, not too scary. You're not scary. So that's good.
We've seen each other in real life one time at least.
Yeah, exactly.
None of us bite.
No, we don't.
But yeah, is there anything else that you want to promote or do anything about?
Not really,
close down this episode?
Let's close it down and let's just keep our hearts open.
Hearts open. Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
So yeah, for people listening in on this episode, if you like this episode, like this interview, then you can find other episodes of Gameable Audio on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Pocket Casts. And don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel where the podcast is available in audio mode as well. Feel free to follow and comment on one of our social medias, either on Facebook or on Instagram. Just search for Gameable Audio and you'll find us there. And for people that would like to help me a little bit financially with this podcast, helping out with, costs for homepages and so on, then feel free to support us on Patreon. And for people that are either $5 or $10, they get some stickers and mugs as well with the Gameable Audio logo. And current awesome backers that we do have today is Daniel Onemark, Lars Schenström, Titti Schenström, Kevin Wikström, Sandris Wikström, Alexander Halldén, and Mats El Kebabo Tapper Holmqvist. Thank you so much for being awesome Patreon backers that you are. It is no matter what type of level you are at, I love you all equally. It is so much helpful to just have that extra financial because it does cost to have a podcast apparently. And when we're supporting like I want to do, that's all the love that I try to give back. So links where you can either buy and support the composer in this episode it's Gustav Wall. You find the links and where to find these in the episode description. And the podcast theme music was as always done by the amazing Thor Myrdal. I am your host, Christofer Schenström. This was episode 65 of Gameable Audio, together with Gustav Wall. With that said, I want to say thank you all for listening in, and see you guys next time.